What's up, everyone? Welcome to the video. Hope you all are doing well. Today, I am going to be doing a commentary over this shrub trimming footage from a recent job and discuss why I think if you are just starting out with your tree or landscaping company, or you own and operate a smaller tree and landscaping company, you shouldn't try to compete with or compare yourself to a much larger tree or landscaping company that might have a lot more equipment and manpower than you. And I'm going to explain why. So what exactly do I mean by this? Of course, you should be striving to want to grow and expand if that is your goal. And obviously, you want to be out there bidding work and trying to get as much work as possible so you can have revenue and build and grow your business. But while you're doing all that, I think it's important to be honest with yourself about your capabilities. What jobs may make sense to take on and which ones may not, when something may be outside of your capabilities, and also not get discouraged because you may not have all the fancy equipment that you see these larger companies have, or the fact that a job that may take you 2 days, they can complete in half a day. When I first started my company, I was not very honest with myself about my capabilities and what jobs made sense to take on and to not take on. And I got myself into a little bit of trouble with this, getting involved with jobs that, I really was just not equipped or capable of handling at that time. Keep in mind, when I first started, I was working out of a car, and I paid a lot of money out to other people to help me haul material away from a job site. I also sometimes relied on subcontractors for things that, I couldn't do by myself. And I lost money, and I got burnt a few times. It wasn't good. So when I initially started my business, I worked on it for a couple months, and that was right before the winter. So obviously work slowed down in the winter. Before I was doing the tree service, I was working towing full time. So when it slowed down in the winter, I still needed an income. So I ended up going back to the towing, and I ended up staying with that for a while, and kind of put my business on hold. But fast forward, a couple years, and I ended up deciding to go full time again, but I did things a little bit different. I really got honest with myself about, okay, what kind of jobs do I want to be doing? What am I comfortable doing? What is my niche? And I have basically kind of built my company around tree and shrub care and maintenance, pruning, maybe some smaller to medium-sized removals. But I don't do a lot of real large removals, not because I necessarily can't, but because it's just not something that I feel I need to get into right now. And there's just some jobs that it makes more sense for me to refer a company out that, has a crane, bucket truck, and all that, rather than, me trying to do it all by climbing. And I don't really want to be doing large removals right now. Eventually, I might branch out into that space as I grow and expand. But right now, I'm very happy with doing the work you see in this video, among some of the other videos that I've put out, where I'm doing pruning work. And like I said, I do some removal work, but typically, it might be a smaller or medium-sized tree, or a storm damage job, something that might have fallen over. But the reason I wanted to talk about this is because if you're just starting out, you gotta have a vision and a plan of, okay, what kind of company do you want to run? What is your end goal? So if your end goal is to be like some of these real large tree services, then take on jobs and do things that are going to help you get to that point. But just don't get discouraged when you see these other companies that have all the equipment that you want, but that you might not have right now. And don't feel like you're any less of a business just because you don't have everything that these bigger companies have. One thing that I kind of like to keep in mind, because yes, obviously with some jobs, the equipment makes a huge difference, but I don't think it's just the equipment. that makes a company good. It's knowing how to use the equipment. There's people out there operating with just a pickup truck and a dump trailer that provide excellent service. It's knowing how to use the equipment and knowing your capabilities and then maximizing on that. And do not hesitate to walk away from a job. There is absolutely nothing wrong with turning something down because you think that it's outside of your capabilities, or maybe it just doesn't make sense for you to get involved with a job with what your current capabilities are. Like I said, there's some situations where it makes more sense to have a company that has much larger equipment handle it. That doesn't mean that you can't do big removals and big jobs with smaller, minimal equipment. You absolutely can. Every situation is different. There's just certain situations where maybe you would want somebody who can come in with the bigger equipment because it might be more headache for you than it's worth, or it's a safety issue, doing it all by climbing, or, whatever reason. So to recap, don't get discouraged just because you might not be at that point yet that you want to be, having all the equipment that these bigger companies have. Don't let it get you down. Just focus on doing a good job, providing excellent customer service, and just keep pushing forward. Secondly, know your limits, know your capabilities, have a plan and a vision for what kind of company you want to build. Maybe you develop a niche, so maybe you just focus on a specific aspect of tree care, like, say, removals, shrubs, pruning, whatever. Or if you're trying to build a company that does everything, be smart about what jobs you take on. If you think that maybe it doesn't make sense for you to take on a job, nothing wrong with turning it down. But I think that, really being in tune with yourself and your goals, your capabilities, I think that's very important, especially in this line of work. You can get yourself into some real trouble real quick if you get involved with a job that is way beyond your capabilities. And, I do run a tree service business, but what I'm talking about can apply to tree or landscaping, or, really any contracting business. So I appreciate you all watching. If you have any questions for me, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. If you have any specific topics you'd like me to cover related to tree work, business, fitness and lifestyle, bodybuilding, also let me know in the comments, and I will see you all in the next video. Thanks so much for watching.